Today we're going to read Animal Strike at the Zoo. It's true. And the author is Karma Wilson. So she wrote the story. And I can look at the front cover and know that this book is going to be fiction. So I know her purpose is to entertain. So she wrote this book to entertain us. She used her imagination to create this fun story. The illustrator is Margaret Spengler. So she drew all the funny animal pictures and all the other pictures that we're going to see inside this book. So let's get started. Animal Strike at the Zoo. It's true. This animal has a sign that says, I quit. There's an animal strike at the zoo. It's true. The headlines are telling it all. The animals quit. That's it. We're through, say all critters, from biggest to small. We're paid only peanuts, the elephants shout. And goodness, we're bigger than that. So now they won't trumpet or lumber about. They sit in the shade looking fat. So they're like, hey, we only get paid these little bitty peanuts and look how big we are. That's not fair. The monkeys won't monkey around anymore, and that just means the monkeys won't act silly. You won't see us climbing again. They wallow like big monkey lumps on the floor. We want a nice pool in our pen. So they're like, okay, so we want a pool. You're not going to see us act silly because you don't give us enough. The leopards aren't prowling. The wolf packs aren't howling. The tigers aren't growling. And I love the illustration because the tiger's actually covering his mouth. So he's like, I'm not going to growl for you. The otters are scowling. And if you look closely, the word scowling is what the otters are doing on their face. So scowling just means to make a mean, ugly look on your face. Yeah, the worst has come true. There's an animal strike at the zoo. The zebras are looking like horses today. They painted their stripes in, you see. We're all sick and tired of eating this hay. Our good looks do not come for free. So the zebra's like, you only give us hay for our amazing stripes. So guess what? We're going to paint them in. So they painted over their stripes. So now they just look like horses. Those silly giraffes are not any better. You won't see our necks anymore. They're knitting themselves lots of turtleneck sweaters, which go from their heads to the floor. And we know that giraffes are well known for their long necks. So they're like, you're not going to see our long necks anymore. We're going to cover them up with these turtlenecks. Business these days is as slow as can be. Folks go to the circus instead. Nobody wants to pay money to see the animals lying in bed. So there's not many people that come to the zoo because the animals are on strike and they're not doing what they normally do. So now the people are going to the circus. The lions aren't roaring. The eagles aren't soaring. The penguins are snoring. And if you look over here at the illustration, see the penguins laying down and you see the Z's above their head. So that's telling us that they're snoring. It's all rather boring. What can the zookeeper do? There's an animal strike at the zoo. And if you look closely, this person right here, this man, he's actually the zookeeper. And he's like, what am I supposed to do? What am I going to do? He really is doing the best that he can. We're talking about the zookeeper. The elephants all got a raise. So he's like, okay, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to give them a raise. So instead of just peanuts that the elephants are eating, they now eat pecans. And he offered them 6-hour days. So this crate says fancy pecans. So they're not just eating those just plain old peanuts. he got them fancy pecans. And also, they're not having to work as long. They're only working 6 hours a day now. Oh, there's the monkeys. The monkeys were given a small kiddie pool, because remember, that's what they said. They wanted a pool in their pen. And he's feeding the zebras sweet oats. Oh, so see, he's given the monkeys what they wanted, a pool, and then he's given the zebras more than just hay. He's given them sweet oats. But the monkeys complain that the water is cool, and the zebras demand root beer floats. So they're not happy with what they asked for. They want more. Oh, and look at the little girl. Because remember, no one's come to visit the zoo because all the animals are doing are lying around. So look, she is so excited to be there. She's got that big smile on her face. She's pointing to some of the cages. Maybe she's pointing to the giraffes. Then, in through the gate walks sweet little Sue. She just can't believe that she's here. She's always wanted to come to the zoo, and she's begged for this trip for a year. So she's been begging to go to the zoo for a year. She's so excited to be there. But no birdies are peeping. No lizards are creeping. No bunnies are leaping. So now look at little Sue. Does she look happy like she did when she came into the zoo? No, her mood has changed. She is so sad. I see tears coming out of her eyes. Then poor Sue starts weeping, and weeping is a really hard cry. Her heart is broken in two by the animal strike at the zoo. As tears start to streak down her cute rosy face, the animals watch that wee child, that just means that small child. A deep hush of sadness falls over the place. So all of a sudden they hear this little bitty kid crying, and they get really quiet, the animals, and they just look at her. And then they go totally wild. Like they're supposed to, right? With roaring and peeping and howling and growling, all critters from biggest to small start soaring and creeping and leaping and prowling. Then little Sue laughs at them all. So now her mood has changed again. So she's excited again like she was when she first came into the zoo. And all of the animals find out that day they actually like what they do. The zookeeper calls the reporters to say. So the zookeeper's on the phone with the reporters. Hooray, no more strike at the zoo. And he's looking out the window and he sees the animals doing what they usually do. If you look closely, the giraffes, are they wearing their turtlenecks? Nope. And the elephants, are they just laying around? Nope, they're playing. That is so fun. And look, he even has a pig phone. So funny. But the bear at the circus won't pedal his bike. Uh-oh. He says he's on a strike. Oh, no. So now the animals at the circus are on a strike. All right, so I hope you enjoyed Animal Strike at the Zoo. It's true about animals. They feel like they're not being treated fairly. They want more. They don't want just the little peanuts, or they don't want just that little bit of hay. They want more. And then when they do get more, they actually want even more. So they're not happy with what they got extra. They actually wanted more. And then a little girl comes to the zoo and she's so excited to be there. But then when she looks around and she sees all the animals lying in their beds or sleeping, she gets really sad because that's not what she expected when she was going to come to the zoo. So she starts crying, and then all of a sudden the animals, they stop and they're looking at her, and then they go totally wild because they didn't want her to be sad. They didn't want her to be upset. So they go totally wild, and then the zoo is a zoo again. But then we saw at the end that now the animals at the circus are going on a strike. So I hope you enjoyed this story. Thanks for listening.